Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig. I'm exhausted, Jonty.
Unhinged opening to the show ever. So what's the deal? What's going on?
You asked me how am I feeling. I'm exhausted. It's the end of the year, brother.
It
2
is.
sleeps to go.
We got there.
Yes.
Every year, I don't know why it always surprises me, but every year you get to the end. Where did the time go? It just went so quickly. But I wonder if it's even like a COVID thing, that we're still in the aftermath of COVID and time stretching and pulling and feeling different is still a reality for us, where it has felt like, compared to say 2020, which stretched on forever, this year has just vanished.
It feels like a vanish. I still remember standing on my veranda, and it was like the 2nd of January, and Carol Ranucci, beautiful Pastor Carol, yelled out across the balcony to me, "Hi, Rev Ness." I said, "Hi, Carol." She said, "Has God given you a word for the year?" And I said, "Oh, nah." She said, "Well, have you asked God for a word for the year?" And I said, "No, shit, I haven't, Carol. No, I haven't. I haven't done that." And she said, "Well, you need to, Ness. You need to ask God." And she said, I can't even remember what her word was, but she did tell me, and I went, "Oh, that was so insightful." So I finished off the conversation and I went about my day, and we're in, Christmas, that beautiful time between Christmas, New Year and that first week of January, and I just prayed to God, sat in the sun and prayed, and God said, I remember where I was, sitting on my back deck in the sun, shades on, glass of shardy, 2 sips in, and God says, "Waff." So I go, "God, waff." And God says, "Waff." So I Google waff. And I put in WAF. It's not a thing. I'm literally Googling in my phone, Jonty.
Yeah.
And God says, "This year you're going to need to be wise as fuck." That's what WAF is. And I remember screaming across to the other side of my balcony, Carol, come out." She comes out, What, are you all right? I said, "WAF."
Got my word.
She says, "What's WAF?" I said, "Wise as fuck." And she absolutely pissed herself laughing. And she said, "What?" She thought I was joking. And I said, "No, God said I'm going to need to be really,
WAF.
this year." And you know what? Interesting, we're now 2 sleeps till the end of 2023. And I have had to be very WAF this year in so many ways, in my personal life, in my ministry life, in my mummy life, in all of it. I've had to be very WAF. I'm very grateful for the Lord for a word. Do you ask the Lord for a word?
No, I don't, but maybe I'll have to this year.
Yeah, I'm going to do it again. Definitely. It's extraordinary. And actually, WAF has come up many times. Yeah. In many meetings that I've been in, I've said I've had to be that, and I've told that story many times.
Yeah, I have heard you tell that story before, and
Yeah. God's so cool. Speaks to me how I speak.
Yeah,
How cool is that?
Similar story, another podcaster, JB Copeland, shout out, go listen to his show, was talking about, it was an episode about his journey with addiction and going into rehab. He was addicted to prescription medication and was very unhealthy for a long time, and has come out on the other side healthy and well, but is telling his story on his platform, and I would encourage people to go listen to that if that's something that they're interested in. But similarly, receives a word from God that is so specific to the language that he is familiar with and understands, and it was about his, similar to when we had that episode with James Aaron talking with the little kid in the corner saying you can't do that.
Yeah.
And God said, and he had a similar experience where there's this hurt, damaged child who has his hands on the steering wheel.
Wow.
And God said, "Let that bitch die."
Wow, I love that.
And it's so like, for some people that's really abrasive because it is.
Oh.
Because I think sometimes that language like that just cuts to an intensity and a directness that you need to have in some of those situations.
100%.
Which is, for him, he said, like, almost shocked him into action. I didn't realize God spoke to people like that, but now he's speaking to me like that.
Oh, wow.
And it kicked him into action.
Wow,
which is really,
I love that.
really interesting.
What a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love WAF. WAF's great.
WAF's been great, and I'm just wondering what 2024 will bring. Looking forward to that. I'll keep you posted, brother. Not many sleeps to go.
No. Before we know it, we'll be having this conversation in a year's time.
I know. It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good to journal that stuff. It's been quite a year at Filthy Hope, hasn't it, Jonty?
It has. I mean, I didn't think we'd get this far, to be honest. It was at the beginning, it was an experiment. I've told this story before, but it came out of the church here at Uniting Heart and Soul doing an online church service, and no longer feeling like we were called to be in that space with COVID kind of easing and people going back to church physically and no longer needing an online church service. And so
shout out to Josh Wyatt, though.
Yeah, I know you listen, mate.
Oh, what a weapon of a man.
I would not be doing this if it weren't for Josh's help. So shout out. He's
and Josh and how he got us online. In 35 seconds, he got us up and running.
People remember that June lockdown in 2021 in Sydney where just within 48 hours, everything shut down.
Yep. And he got us up and rolling with online church in a heartbeat. Lent us all the gear and off we went. And he was just an epic human being. Incredible.
Oh,
Signal Box.
If you
Signal Box is the name of the organisation. Reach out to them. They are an incredible
absolute
group
legends.
of humans.
Yeah, they're amazing. And so with Josh's help, we transitioned into doing this, and you can just, if you're watching or even just listening, you can see and hear the growth that we've gone on since day one.
Just production-wise, this year has been a huge shift, hasn't it?
Yeah. We've got some nice new cameras, new mics. We've got this lovely little thing here in the backdrop,
which we need to fix up because it says Jonty
I know
Cornford.
we keep meaning to.
I just want to cross that out with a texter and write Pastor Jonty.
Pastor, yeah.
Can we do that?
In the new year, we'll have it.
Okay.
But even I think our fluency in conversation and the conversations that we've had with guests, I think, has just improved. I think it's really up to the listeners to decide, but I look back at some of the early episodes we did, and I'm astounded by how much we've grown. Even since the end of last year. Do you remember we did our Christmas episode last year? We had tinsel around the microphones.
Yeah, I do. A tree and stuff set up. That's right.
I was editing that on my laptop at Turramurra Uniting Church during the kids program. I have this vivid memory of finishing that up and hitting publish and then going and running a game with some kids.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah,
it's been a huge evolution, hasn't it?
Yes, and to get to more some of maybe the technical side of things, we have seen huge growth in our listenership thanks to our increased output of short content, of reels. It's been incredible, and I just want to say, anyone watching or listening that found us through that short form content, welcome back, and we're so glad to have you, because I think the way that this community has grown over the last year from kind of our inner circles and friends and family and other church nerds to now being this community of people of all different walks of life is really cool, and I think speaks to what I want church to be, is not just a gathered community of people who all think the same way, but truly a gathered community of people from all walks of life.
It's wonderful.
I think so cool.
And the short content's hilarious because I love it, because it comes out and it'll be usually banter between you and I, or one of us saying some extraordinary thing that's way out of context.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it's
just read the comments.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm going, Jonty, people are going to judge us harshly from those things, which they do.
Yeah.
But that creates terrific conversation for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In our channels.
Yeah, and I think my hope is that people are intelligent enough to realise that 30 seconds of content from an hour-long podcast will not give you the full context, and hopefully it's an invitation for people to come and check out, if not the whole thing, come and suss it out and see what the deal is with Filthy Hope.
Yeah.
So I mean that's been a big shift in workload for me this year as well. I think in managing not just this side of things, but then in post, thinking about what are the clips that are going to interest people, and shout out to Somerset Drayton as well for helping in that journey and doing some edits along the way. Yeah. We should have Summer back on the show. Actually, now I think about it. If you're listening, Summer, come chat to us.
And you became a pastor in this process because of the vitality of this ministry and how at Uniting Heart and Soul we saw this growing into a community of its own. So our business model is such that I manage our Sunday morning worshipping community, which has grown. It's like, oh my gosh, another year, and people from all different walks of life are coming in, and not necessarily people from Woollahra, but people from all over the Sydney area coming to our church on Sundays to engage in that style of worship, which is really cool.
Very cool.
It's like unbelievable. So I've been managing that, and our church saw that the vitality of what was happening with our online work with Filthy Hope, it was at a point where we should seek some sort of advice to go down the line of potential becoming a pastor for you, Jonty, and then the Sydney Presbytery Committee put you through those paces. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Sounds so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I probably even want to go even further back and this year of 2023 and that process of discerning what my role in God's kingdom is kind of in huge contrast to where I have been in the last 2 years before that, in kind of having come to a place of going, yeah, great, I've figured out that, I still, I love God and I want to be part of the mission of God, but that doesn't look like it'll be in the institutional church. To now being a pastor in the Uniting Church in Australia.
Sucked in.
But yeah, I think for me, what started as an experiment has become something that is, I feel like it is important. People who speak to me about the podcast say that I'm trying not to sound like I'm blowing smoke on my own ass,
just
but
say
it. The only reason we still do this is because we see that it reaches people and has a positive impact. And that has been to such an extent that it has become clear to me that it's worth investing the time and resources and energy and even just like the pastoral input that it requires from me in a lot of cases, whether it's with you or with guests or with listeners, is such that it was not just worth me going down the road of ministry of pastor, but in some ways I actually think necessary and an indicator of where I think God wants this ministry to go.
Yeah, there's a depth and a breadth to this.
And it's a deep, deep privilege.
Yeah, it is.
I told you many times before, but big time sufferer of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Who am I to assume that I'm in a position where I can work in ministry and in a way that affects other people in the way that this podcast does? But, I think I'm now at a place where I recognize the privilege and the responsibility that places on my shoulders to, preach the gospel in ways that people understand and people resonate with, that is true to the gospel but stripped of some of the religious bullshit that we've all kind of grown up with and have started to recognise as bullshit.
Such a deacon. I'm so proud of you.
So, that's been a big change and growth and development point for me this year.
It's been massive. It's been beautiful watching you change and grow and actually take up the mantle, because I think you were kicking and screaming there for quite a period of time in the lead up, because I felt that you didn't want to, because of the gravitas of what it means to step into this. Yeah. And it's been really a privilege to walk alongside you and to encourage you and to be a fellow imposter alongside you.
I think one of the really incredible experiences for me this year was going to Synod in session at Katoomba Christian Convention back in September.
Can you tell people what that even means?
Yeah, so for people that aren't church nerds, it's basically New South Wales ACT Synod is the church body that exists at a state level. It's basically a 3-day church council meeting for New South Wales ACT, so the church at a state level. And so I was there as a member, and shout out to anyone who I caught up with at Synod, some of whom I was already familiar with, many of whom I wasn't, who came up and said such kind things about the podcast and that they're loving it and are recommending it to other people who are it's working for them as well. It was a really affirming experience for me, because I think for us, we do this in this room, and then I take the files home on my hard drive and cut it together and hit publish, and you see numbers come through, some weeks larger than others, but they're just numbers. But I think that experience being at Synod and suddenly realising how many people within the Uniting Church sphere who not only listen to the podcast but get so much out of it was a real affirmation for me that they're not just numbers, they're all the numbers have names and are people that we're connecting with, which is such a privilege.
I had a really great experience. I hadn't realised that, because we do this together, and the nature of our workflow is that I'll go then and write my sermon and prep for Sunday, and we separate and we go off and do our own thing, and then that's right. And we were gathered for a big church event, and that our church was hosting, and somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, hi Ness, nice, how are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm really great, I'm Ness." And this person introduced themselves to me, and I said, "Oh, so nice to meet you." And they said, "I know who you are." I said, "Oh yeah, I'm Ness." And they said, "Yeah, I listened to the podcast." And then all of a sudden I feel my face went like scarlet red, because I was really embarrassed, because then I thought, oh shit, they know things about things that I've said about deep, vulnerable stuff.
That's right.
But this person really didn't give a rat's about me. They just wanted to meet you. And I said, "Have you met Jonty?" And they said, "Yes, at Synod." And I said, "Oh," and I said, "He's in the other room."
I'm with you now. I was trying to think.
It was just the coolest moment. It was just absolutely unreal to think that strangers that we don't know that listen to what we have to say.
Yeah, I remember we just want to thank
That's
all
amazing.
of you, because it's not about us, it's about the community of God and the people of God doing God's stuff together. So,
but the thing is, the thing that sucks is that they know more about us than we know about them.
Exactly,
and that feels a bit unfair, quite frankly.
Join our Facebook group.
Yeah, but I want to be their friends.
Yeah, join our Facebook group and come chat to us, and we can. Because quite genuinely, I think that
I know.
Yeah.
I feels like a one-side friendship.
But this is one of my goals for 2024 is for that relationship to try and open that up into a two-way relationship. So
our live events have been super fun though, and we've had a crack at that.
That's
right?
one way that I think that can take place even more is those live events. Yeah, we did, I want to say 3 live episodes this year. First one with Reverend John Owen, which was fantastic.
That was a cracker.
Yeah.
He's a bloody good interview.
He was great.
Yeah.
Oh, and shout out his new, not new anymore, but recently started, what's it called? The Wayside Podcast. That's what it's called. Stories at the something or other. I'm sorry, I've forgotten what the name of the podcast. It's fantastic. John interviewing people who have connections through Wayside. It's anonymous, so you don't know who often you start to realise who the guest is, but the whole point is that it's not about the person, it's about the story. So I would highly recommend going to listen to John's podcast, because it's fantastic.
He's
and
I
had a chance I bumped into him at a church thing semi recently, and just gushed, congratulated him on, because
Oh,
it's phenomenal. So highly recommend people go and check that out. Yeah, and then we had our second live event was we had you and your husband Rob on the show. And that was our first Filthy Hope event that had an infant at the podcast as well. So if you go back and listen to it, you can hear I won't say the name, but
baby having a crack up.
Yeah, run around the background, which is fantastic. And then the third one was with Reverend John Humphreys.
Yeah, nice.
Hope on the Brink.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Which was a good conversation.
And then we've had a pub event.
Yeah, we and we'll continue doing those in the future.
Super fun. Just getting together and being
just love
friends.
hanging out. Yeah,
it's really nice.
Yeah,
So
I think
wonderful.
that's been something that I want to do a lot more of in 2024 is just opportunities for us to connect with our listeners and
it's wonderful.
Hear our stories and
hear their stories.
Share a beer. Yeah,
it's so nice. It's been just a terrific. It's been a terrific series of events this year.
It's gone beyond what I thought we would be doing.
Yeah.
Like, quite honestly, when we started after Easter in 2022, I didn't think we'd make it to the end of that year. I thought we'd experiment, put some podcasts out, close up shop and move on. But it's just turned into this thing.
Yeah, and people want to come on and be a guest.
That's right.
It's pretty exciting, isn't it? We've got some good ones lined up for
we
2024,
sure
but don't tell them that yet.
Sure
Keep that on the quiet. One of the things that have been going on for us is Wellness HQ.
Yeah, can you tell us more about what's going on there?
Yeah, been a phenomenal. That's the Wellness HQ is the other missionary arm of Uniting Heart and Soul. And so down in our Double Bay premises, we actually have now set up 2 counselling rooms where we have our 2 counsellors plus our psychologist on site and take in anybody that needs counselling, and we do it free of charge, which has just been phenomenal.
Is that a typo?
Yeah, that's right. I loved that billboard that I put up. That's right. Free of charge.
Free of charge.
And I put underneath it, I said, this is not a typo. And we've had walk-ins off the street come in just because of that one big billboard that I put up. And it's been amazing. And we've had 2 beautiful interns from a university come in and do their final placement with us. And they're finishing up with us at the end of December. And Julie Ryan and I have just interviewed the next 2 interns that are going to start with us in January.
Amazing.
Oh, I know. 2 more fantastic, talented, empathetic counsellors that are going to be starting setting up shop here at Wellness HQ in Double Bay. So it's been a terrific move for us, and it's been an opportunity for us to stretch our wings and grow our model.
Because can I ask about numbers? We've been at capacity.
We're at capacity. Absolutely.
The whole way along, haven't we?
We have. So we never have space. So when you ring in, Julie just manages to create extra spots, and she's just been phenomenal. So really great care here, and it was always a part of my ministry desire to provide counselling in the church space, because the one thing that I knew that changed my life was Jesus and counselling, and brought about healing and wholeness and total transformation. So I wanted to be able to be instrumental in providing a safe space for people to come and be able to unpack their own trauma and upsets from their life, and we've been able to do that. It's just been magnificent. We should get Julie on the podcast next year, or even Dr. Chris, our psychiatrist.
Yep.
He'd be an epic conversation.
Absolutely.
On here.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about what that looks like for 2024. More of the same good oil there, and doing, I just really believe, the work of Jesus. And how great is the Uniting Heart and Soul community for just getting behind these missions
100%.
and just driving it, throwing money at it. And
because to provide free counselling isn't cheap.
Oh, it's not. No.
as people can imagine.
Yeah, to see a psychologist, you know, you're looking at between $180 and $350 a session.
Yeah, so the fact that we can employ people and run that intern program as well,
It's
and
unreal.
provide free counselling for people
Yeah,
is
it's just
pretty insane.
It feels great to be able to do that. It's one, I feel like I could die now and go to heaven because I feel like I've actually done something really worthwhile on the planet.
Makes a real difference.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And so that feels like a beautiful thing. I suppose an extension of that, something that I wasn't moving into on any level or seeking was a demonic ministry. Like who says that that's going to be on their rap sheet? Yes, and now I'm going to be launching into demonic ministry. I don't even know.
3 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's like, what? Yeah. You need to be waff about that, let me tell you, because that's a tricky one. And Julie and I have had opportunity to be involved in that. And again, talk about that's that's an absolute privilege to be in that space, to enter into conversation and bring the Holy Spirit and the discernment of God into those conversations have been outrageous, I suppose, and something that I feel like I've had no training in, but just being led by the Spirit. And when things then move to a point that is beyond certainly our scope, we then refer on to the Day Spring Ministry team, which are just exceptional in that space and have a incredible ministry in that area. So that's been an interesting thing that I wouldn't have thought that would have tracked in ministry.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that God trusts me that much to present those opportunities to us, to be able to do the miraculous work of Jesus through prayer.
And there have been some quite miraculous stories that have come out of that ministry.
Yeah, they really have. Yeah, I can't unpack them here.
No, of course not.
But they really are. They're just of biblical nature, and I think, wow, I can often, I'm gathering a nice little book of narrative myself of the way Jesus gets to do healing and wholeness through prayer ministry with people in really dire situations. So that has been something really unique. What about, to totally left of field, music ministry at Uniting Heart and Soul, Jonty? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, we, again, going back a couple of years to that online church phase in our ministry, Rachel Humphreys and I, Rachel has been on the podcast before.
Studying at AIM?
Studying at AIM is working as the worship leader at Uniting Heart and Soul. So if you've been along to church, you'll know Rachel well. Rachel and I basically recorded a whole bunch of music over COVID for those online church services. And this year has been a long, slow, somewhat painful for me, just in terms of the detail and effort required to produce music to a professional standard, process of taking those sessions, polishing them and retracking some of the vocals, rearranging some of the songs as well, to put together what we think will be a really quality output of worship music. And we've this year we've released a few of those songs, and I was hoping to have an EP finished by the end of the year, but partly due to the fact I got quite sick for a few weeks and wasn't able to finish that process in time for it to be ready by the end of the year. But we've put out, some covers of Power Perfect by King's Kaleidoscope, which is a great track. Mercy by The Brilliance with Rachel. Agnes Day, an arrangement of that. But we have so much more in the works, a solid amount of which is ready to go, including, I can't say exactly details, but a music video for one of them.
It's going to be great, isn't it?
Which is going to be great. And again, we were ready to shoot and then I got very sick. So that's been pushed to next year. But that's been a really, really fun, creative process. trying to fit in the many hours that it takes to mix and master music to a professional standard has been hard. Obviously, with the Filthy Hope Ministries accelerating at the rate that it has. But yeah, I'd love to have Rachel back on the show to talk about that and the process of taking well-known quote unquote church music and putting our own spin on it, making it our own.
And the music video, it's going to be a fabulous medium, I think.
Yeah, we have some really exciting talent on that as well, which obviously we can't talk about just yet. But that's really exciting. I think so.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
What about, Jonty, tell me about your private sort of side hustle with your own personal writing and what's going on there?
Well, it's similar to the music. It's been a journey for me to manage my time. But, for people that may not know, I studied at university to be a writer. Since as long as I can remember, I've always been writing stories. I remember in year 1 handing in, I wrote a story, but made it into a book just out of paper and staples and drew the cover and everything and made my own published superhero story with texters and stuff. So my whole life I've always wanted to be a writer. And so this year has been really a journey of rediscovering the joy of it, because having managed to find myself in ministry as a job and not in publishing or writing or journalism or any of the other kind of forms that might have taken at one point before I went into youth ministry in 2018, it had always kind of been this guilty, you should be doing more of this thing in the back of my head, which made it harder to pick up the time to do. But I'm now at a place where I'm really loving it again.
Oh, isn't that great?
And so as a result, I've been really, really productive. There's a novel that I've been writing, which is coming along really, really well, which if I'll speak very briefly about because it's not finished and it will probably continue to shape and change over time, but it's a murder mystery set in a small Australian town, in regional Australia, fictional town, that takes on some weird, creepy, supernatural elements, and
You're such a weirdo.
That's all I'll say about that. But
it's scary.
Yes.
Oh, horror. It sits in the
I
horror
wouldn't
genre?
call it a horror novel, but there are some subtle. What I'll say is at the moment I'm laying some breadcrumbs for some big reveals at the end that are definitely kind of in the Lovecraftian cosmic horror.
Oh, that's not
realm.
Bridgerton.
No, it's not. For people that might be following along on the bingo sheet, take a shot because I'm going to mention Twin Peaks because it's very inspired by Twin Peaks. So if people know about Twin Peaks and the murder mystery that then kind of over time gets weirder and weirder until it opens up into this crazy supernatural horror-inflected story of spirits and possessions and things like that.
Gosh.
That's kind of the realm that we're talking. It starts as a very not normal, but a very kind of grounded murder mystery or missing persons mystery, and curdles into a nightmare is how I'm describing it to people.
Curdles into a nightmare. Oh.
How
do you do that, brother?
Just the other day, I'm working at for people that are writers. We get how important consistency is. I've been working at about 4,000 words a week.
Whoa!
For a couple of months now, which is getting me that momentum is really important, and rediscovering the joy of it has made that a lot easier.
Wow, you'd smash out a master's in a heartbeat if you can push out words.
I already know what my title for my PhD is going to be.
Oh, there we go. You heard it here first, folks.
But I won't say it until it happens. I mean, maybe the power of manifestation, but you never know.
Wow.
And there's a couple of screenplays and getting back into some film writing as well, some reviews and some retrospectives and that sort of thing has been really, really wonderful. So, I mean, I guess do a quick plug if people are interested in reading some of my film writing, bluerose.filmreview@blogspot.com. That's where the blog is. I might put a link down below. If you're not interested, ignore what I just said. But that's I've just felt so much energy and joy around doing that again.
Isn't it wonderful?
I guess probably if we're looking at 2024, one of my goals is to have at least one piece of work published.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's come about because of carving out your working week. I remember us talking about that, getting into a rhythm and just
That's right.
being able to lock into that.
Yeah.
And you just have to be consistent, don't you?
That's right. And the exciting part for me is I'm already sort of starting to see some results, not in terms of word count, like the legalistic results, but in terms of just how I'm feeling about work, even now when I still haven't quite lined it all up in a way that's sustainable.
Fulfillment,
so
isn't it?
I feel like it's at a place where it's only going to improve and get better, which is really exciting for me. Yeah.
Because I think creative endeavours feed creative endeavours.
100%.
And it feeds your soul and fills your cup up, doesn't it? I know when my first point of study was acting.
Yeah.
So I went off and studied drama and acting. And
one of the first things that you told me when we met was the fact that you worked with Linda Blair, who, for people who may not know, plays Reagan in The Exorcist, which blew my mind.
Yeah. You didn't believe me.
No, I didn't. I still don't quite believe you.
Jonty.
I know it happened.
You looked it up. You looked up the movie. You saw my name on the credits.
No.
It happened.
Just doesn't seem real to me. But
did you like me after that? Did you want to be my friend after you knew that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I felt like things.
I just wanted to meet Linda Blair.
Well, I've been working as an actor since I was 20, and it's been interesting. The older I've got, after 40, it was really hard to crack gigs, but I had nice, consistent work up until then, and then I got older, and I think the gigs became harder, and a lot of reality TV came in, so a lot of actors didn't have the opportunity to.
Scripted drama wasn't as strong.
Australian content was minimal and etc. So, but I've maintained on the books of my agent, Bedford and Pierce, and this year I've had some spanking casting calls for different things, of which I haven't landed one. So I am actually interested. Maybe God doesn't want that for my life anymore. I keep saying every time I go to renew my showcast, which is the way that the online platform that we agents can actually push our details out there to casting directors, I often say, Lord, do you want me to do this again this year? And I never hear God say, no, I don't. So I do it again. And I don't really know why, but when Martin rings, he says, darling, I have a casting for you. Please respond on Casting Network. I go in, I have a look, I read the script, I learn the lines. I, often do these days since COVID, we do a self-test at home.
Yep.
So I can actually self-test at night at the end of the day, which is really cool, and then load all my material online and send off the casting. I often don't have to go in for casting anymore, which has made things really excellent. Made it less stressful, quite frankly.
And I imagine you could probably apply or take part in more calls because
you can.
There's less logistics involved. You
right. I don't have to.
Send it off.
I don't have to not turn up for work.
That's right.
So I can film it at night, and they usually give you 5 days to do it. So at the end of my work day, I do it, or on a weekend, or on my day off. So it works out really well. But I haven't landed any of the roles, brother. So either I'm shit, I'm fat, or I'm just not very good. Or God just doesn't want me doing that anymore. But I've got to say this. It was a really big job recently, and it's not on air at the moment. I know I didn't get it because the shoot date came and went. I haven't seen the gig, but I have signed a non-disclosure, so I can't talk about it. But it was going to be for an epic amount of cash. I was a bit excited. And I felt really good. I do the audition, learn the lines, do the audition, load up the material and send it off. And after that, I just park it. I just get to have this creative moment where I get to interpret the script and do what I know how to do and then send it off. And in a way, it just fills up a part of me that ministry doesn't. It's just another part of my Vanessa-ness that I think gets filled up, which is super interesting, isn't it? But I don't get the jobs. Well, I haven't this year anyway.
Yeah, I was going to throw in another possibility that maybe it isn't that God doesn't, not that door is shut permanently.
No.
But it's pending.
I wonder if it's pending, and I often don't get upset about it. I used to in my early days get like really hang by the phone waiting for Martin to call and say, darling, you've got the job. Go to the wardrobe check on such and such a day. Weather date on X. And I'd go, yay! And then I'd go and spend the money in my brain where I was going to spend the casting money. But I now do the job, which I see as the casting. I do it. I get to use those skills I was trained to do. And then I just let it go. And I don't make it mean anything these days. I just let it go, which is probably quite beautiful in a way, but I feel like my cup gets filled up. I suppose a little bit like an artist would get to paint a watercolour or you get to record a song. It does still fill me up. Yeah.
I think that's
probably it.
That's the reason to keep doing it.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, if they keep asking me, I can't be totally shit if they keep asking me.
No.
Right? So anyway, maybe one day. Who knows? It's pretty funny though.
I'll cast you in something.
Not that bloody horror shit though, Jonty. I can't do that.
It depends on the paycheck though, right?
Yeah, now you're talking. Yeah. That's right. Have you seen, talking of theatre, did you go to the theatre this year?
I don't think I went to the theatre. I went to some comedy this year.
Oh, tell.
Which was...
rude and funny?
Another thing that I think is something that I need... Whenever I do go, I'm like, I love going to live comedy. And so really, it's been something that I've noted is something that I want to spend more time doing. Went to a couple of hilarious... shout out to my brother Marty, got us VIP tickets to Auntie Donna, Australian comedy trio, earlier in the year, which was hilarious. So good. We got to get in early and chat to them and see the sound check and then, second row seats at the Enmore Theatre for some live comedy. That was fantastic.
Don't you feel great after an absolute piss cack?
Yeah, so good for yourself. And with a crowd of people. I think there's something really wonderful about whether it's seeing a film that elicits a big reaction from an audience, like a really good horror movie or a hilarious comedy or something that makes everyone cry, going to a comedy show and experiencing that communal laughter and
it's gold.
That release is fantastic. What about you? Have you been to any theatre this year?
I have. I saw I'll Be There with the love and thingy thing. Da, na, 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 na,
just a peek behind the curtain. Ness couldn't remember.
Human nature.
She goes, who's that band again? And she just starts singing.
Yeah, I saw them. They were
took me a while, but I got there.
With two girlfriends, and I just loved it. I just was on my feet dancing like with all the other old ladies in the room. Yeah. Everybody seemed like they were my age. It was fantastic. I saw Tina, the musical. That was extraordinary. I saw Hamilton earlier in the year, and I've recently seen Wicked. That was magnificent. And my girlfriend has bought us tickets for Sunset Boulevard next year. I know.
That's quite honestly one of my very favourite films.
I'm so excited. It's going to be great.
I didn't even know that was a...
There you go. But it's not till September next year, I think, the tickets are, Jonty. So you've got to fork out all this cash and you don't get to experience it for months and months.
Yeah, so I'm going with my partner's family to Dracula next year, which was another one that's like in September or something that we got tickets to in the... I think it's the Sydney Theatre Company. I'm not sure. But a similar thing where it's like, it's in September.
Yeah.
we got to wait.
I also saw Moulin Rouge. That was sexy as anything. It was just really a great stage production. It was just on fire, that thing. It was just incredible. So, I saw some good theatre this year. It was super fun. Yeah, and entertaining and laugh a minute and you leave just happy. It's just, it fills my cup up too, that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on the occasions I have been to see theatre, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's just the price that puts me off a little bit. But because for me, I go and see movies. I see 2 movies a month in the theatres minimum. Like I just go and watch movies religiously. If I pulled up my letterbox, I could tell you exactly how many films I've seen this year, but it'll be over 300.
Wow.
And I saw a film this year that was just, I've seen lots of great films this year, but there's a film that I want to draw people's attention to because it wasn't one of the big attention-grabbing films, was this film called Past Lives, which is a Korean-American film about these 2 people who are childhood friends who fall in love and then are separated geographically, and they re-enter each other's lives years later, and it visits them at 3 different points in their lives. And it's just, it's a film about people sitting in rooms talking to each other, but I think I must have seen it at the right time in my life where it was just floored me. And I was just a mess. Like I was sobbing.
Yeah.
Even thinking about it now.
Yeah, look at you.
So if people want to find a really great film to watch, this film, Past Lives, is phenomenal. And it has all this great social commentary about race and about class as well. But at the end of the day, it's just a great romantic film as well, which surprised me because as someone who, I'll watch anything, but generally my taste goes towards genre films, whether it's horror or sci-fi or fantasy or magical realism or whatever, things that I find that those genre films, you can use that cinematic language to draw such large emotional reactions just by nature of the type of films that they are, that I tend to love them more so than other films. But this quiet little romantic drama just, it was incredible. So Past Lives, if people haven't seen it.
Thank you, Jonty. That's a great movie review.
I haven't even looked to see if it's on streaming, but I'm sure it's somewhere if people want to go see it.
Well, thanks for asking me because I've been watching the Hallmark Channel over Christmas, and
haven't.
It is one tacky, crappy jingle bell bullshittery with bad lighting and bad lipstick and bad costuming about couples that fall in love and at Christmas with snow.
Lit like a toothpaste commercial.
Bad like a yes. And you know what? I love that shit.
I know lots of people that do.
I love it, Jonty. I sit there and my kids walk through the room and look at me and go, they roll their eyes in horror and want to strike up a conversation with me in the middle of
Shut up, I'm watching a Hallmark movie.
Get me the remote. I'll have to put it on pause. I'm at a critical juncture. Meaningless, gorgeous, romantic shit is how I describe it. That would be a review. But boy, it brings me peace and comfort at Christmas time. I do need to, you know how I'm a Bridgerton fan?
Yes, I do.
I'm a fan of Bridgerton because I love period pieces.
Yes, yeah.
So Persuasion, any of them, I'm just totally into them, but you can only watch them so many times, right? Apple have put out this one called Buccaneers.
I haven't even heard of this one.
This group of chicks, and it's set in 1700 and something, or maybe 1800, I don't know, but fancy clothes, and it's just fantastic. And it's a PG-rated romantic love triangle, and it is just gorgeous. And I wait for this thing to fall every Wednesday night, and it's just so much entertainment for me. It brings me great happiness. It's like reading a trashy novel, you know?
Well, if you're into period pieces, I saw a film this year called Living, which is based on a Japanese film called Ikiru, which is a period piece at the end of the 1800s with Bill Nye and people that have seen the TV series Sex Education.
Yes.
Amy Lou Reed, who plays, I can't remember the character's name now. but is the best friend of can't remember the character's name. I'm terrible with characters' name, but is a little drama about aging and this old grumpy man rediscovering the joy of life through this relationship that he strikes up with this young woman.
Called The Living.
Just Living.
Living.
Yeah, you'd probably quite like it, I think.
Thanks, Jonty.
I do want to mention Killers of the Flower Moon. There are so many, this isn't a movie podcast. I'm not going to give
Have you seen that yet?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm not going to give my top 10 movies of it because I could go on for a whole hour about movies this year. But
we can go to your other podcast and hear all about your movies.
Well, yeah, I haven't
Can't
been.
we?
My film podcast is one that I haven't released any episodes since July because that's one thing that's fell by the wayside this year, just in terms of time.
Brother.
But yes, that is something that I'm planning on restarting next year. But Killers of the Flower Moon, for people that aren't aware, is the newest film from Martin Scorsese, based on a true story about Native Americans in the Osage County reservation, and who end up being placed there and inheriting a whole bunch of oil money and becoming incredibly wealthy, and then the history of white American, often men, coming in and marrying into families to basically fleece them of the money. And in weird turns of events led to the founding of the FBI. And it's this incredible true story about Native American history, but also the violence and the political power that's been wielded against Native Americans, not just then, but throughout history.
Did they kill the women? Did they come in and kill the women? Is that how the story goes?
The historical novel that it's based on is from the perspective largely of solving the crimes, the murders, because women just start dying. So basically, the short, simplified version is man marries Indigenous woman, woman mysteriously dies, man inherits the money.
Right.
And whole families get systematically
Eradicated.
murdered, basically. But I saw it, and we're not going to talk in detail about this because I don't think it's worth talking about at this point until we can revisit it with some clearer retrospect and some further reflection, and maybe we might have Nathan Tyson back on the show at some point to talk about this. But I saw it the week that the referendum results came through and Australia voted no to a voice to Parliament. And seeing a film so distinctly about American Indigenous populations so clearly reflect our own history.
Yep.
Man, it was
Shocking.
really confronting.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and it's 3.5 hours long. So
Oh, you
I think
and your
it's
3.5 hour movies.
I think it's on Apple TV Plus now, so you can watch it in a few blocks. But
They so need a wee break in the middle of the movies. Have we talked about that before?
probably. Yeah.
They need an intermission, and the guy plays on the piano and we all get chocked up. Truly.
I have lots of thoughts about
Yeah.
that. But again, tune into the Blue Rose Film Podcast to hear more. I mean, so what about, we might talk about, can I ask you about Synod Selection Panel? Is that something
that's been a joy.
Yeah.
This year, there's been a new role as a part of ministry. We spend 10% of our ministerial time serving other parts of the wider church. And one of the areas that I'm serving in now is on Synod Selection Panel. And it's been an absolute joy. So I get to be a part of this group of people that get to meet all the incoming ministers ready for selection to be a part of candidating to become ministers. Oh, it's just wonderful. We just we're put into clusters, we read profiles about the ministry agents, and we learn to understand about their calling into ministry. And it has been an absolutely magnificent way to serve the wider church. I love hearing for the voice of God in and through a group of Christians, and hearing firsthand from the candidate coming through. And I have huge empathy for them in that moment, and watching and listening for God's voice in that. So that has been beautiful. I've made some new friends in ministry, new colleague mates, and then getting to watch and nurture these new ministry people come through seminary and then to be on their panel through the period of their 3 or 4 or 5 years, however long it takes them to get through the candidating process. I've report writing. People normally go, oh my God, don't like report writing, but it's been really great. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's been a stretch and a good stretch for me at a really good time in my ministry life now. So yeah, it's been a super fun way to serve.
Amazing.
To serve the community at UTC. Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, of course, because I know it's something you're super passionate about and really
I love
have a drive to contribute in that space.
Yeah, and I love mentoring.
Yeah.
I love watching young people or old people making a decision for through their period of discernment, and I've had quite a few people that I've mentored this year, so that has been a blessing too, to watch them come through the end of their period of discernment, whether they discern to be in lay ministry or ordained ministry or no ministry. And that has been a blessing also to watch the growth of the individuals and have fascinating conversations with people about that. I've learnt so much. I often think that I learn more than they do. It's just been great. It's one of those times that I look at my diary and go, I'm mentoring so-and-so. Oh, I'm so excited, Excellent. So, yeah, that's been really fun. Fun part of my ministry journey. Yeah, and even funerals. I've got to do quite a few funerals. It's been actually a beautiful part of ministry this year. I'm a part of a community with lots of ageing people, as you know, Jonty, and watching people come to the end of their life. That has been a privilege to walk with people in that space and walk with their families and be able to love them on their way to eternity, watching believers move on to their next hangout with the Lord in the many rooms that God claims he has for us. That has been a beautiful part of the ministry as well. It's taxing, it's tiring, and I find it really emotionally tough space, but also filling my cup. And I'll never forget one of our senior leaders in the Uniting Church saying to me, how much she loves doing funerals. And I remember thinking, she's batshit, mate. That can't possibly be a thing. And
you get it.
Now I get it. Yeah. I was only like in my second or third year of college at that stage, and now I fully get it. Yeah. It's a real privilege to be that person for those people in that time, and to be able to say, hopefully, important final words. Often be there to hold their hand as they take their final breath. That's really palpable moment. It's like you really get to see that heaven and earth collide moment. Like you get to see that, we talk about the thin veil, and you get to see them passing into that next realm. And that is a privilege. That is as privileged as being at a birth. And I've been at quite a few live births with people that I've helped in the birthing process. It feels the same. It's the same epic moment of where God just ushers in a new realm. Whether it be the living through the birth or the passing and the death into new life. Who would have thought? It is such a privilege being a minister. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, wow.
Been a good year.
Yeah, and I want to shout out as well to my Turramurra crew.
Yeah.
What an incredible year we've had with our... We're currently workshopping names for what we call Monday Nighters at the moment, because we meet on a Monday night. But our crew of 20-odd young adults that meet together once a week has just been... It's been a real privilege and a real blessing to be part of that group as we have continued to grow and develop. One of the manifestations of which has been this new development in the Turramurra Uniting Church schedule. The 6:30 p.m. night church is what it was called, has driven by the young adults. We had identified that model was becoming unsustainable and wasn't meeting the needs of the community, and over a long period of time discerning and planning and thinking and praying and dreaming and workshopping and brainstorming have come up with this new model, and not to say that it's a radical reinvention of church by any means, but we have, since I want to say October, so it's been the fourth quarter of this year, so it's still very fresh, launched this new expression of church, largely driven by the young adult community. And thus far it's just been incredible. We had a baptism service earlier in the year that was really, really special, really, really special. And just lots of exciting new expressions of church. Each week it's something different.
So great.
And I just want to shout out everyone involved in making that happen and being a part of that journey for me, and taking hold of not being content with just continuing on the traditional church setting that had been given to us, but actually going, no, let's take this seriously and shape it into something that is meaningful for the current community, not the community that made this thing 30 years ago.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah, and so if people are interested, it's called Evolve, 6 p.m. on a Sunday. Everyone's welcome. It's if you're interested in looking for an evening service on a Sunday, because something we realised is there aren't very many Sunday evening services geared towards young adults. Yeah. And we would have people coming through checking us out, and to be quite honest, the previous model had started to suck. Right. And people would come through and we'd go, it's that thing we'd realise every week, we go, oh, normally there are more people. No. This is what it is now. And so we kind of realised this isn't working. We need to reinvent this a little bit. And the growth that we've seen and the way that has just continued to evolve, hence the name, I guess, has been incredible. And that's something that in 2024 I'm very, very excited to see what becomes of that.
Well, I've got a name for you.
Yeah.
So do you have food on the Monday night?
Yes. We also have, so part of the Sunday evening model is now we start with dinner every week.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
But on the Monday night, you were looking for a name.
Yes.
So why don't you call it the Munchu Crew? Munchu. Are you coming to Munchu? I love that. We're a part of the Munchu Crew. Isn't that fantastic?
Get in touch if you're one of us. Yeah. Or even if you're not and you think you want to give feedback.
Aussies, everything would be scrunched down. Yeah. So you end up being known as the Chewies.
Chewies, there you go. I kind of like that.
I like it. I think of Chewbacca.
Yeah, that's where my brain went.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, so what have we got coming up, Jonty, in January?
Yeah, well, so like we said last week, we are changing our release schedule. So when this episode comes out, the next episode will be the second Tuesday of the year. So we'll be taking about a week off, and we'll be back on a Tuesday release schedule. So don't be surprised when there's nothing new in the feed on the Friday. Sit tight. In another 4 days, we'll be back with more episodes. But we have a guest lined up for January, which is really exciting. Can we reveal who that is?
Say. Yeah.
So we've got Bill Cruz from the Exodus Foundation.
Yeah, bro.
Which is going to be a fantastic conversation. I can't wait to hear that. And a whole slew of other guests that, there are so many people that I can't wait to talk to.
It's going to be fun.
That's going to be really fun. And early in the year, I think our first episode back will be actually an episode about rest and Sabbath.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
And burnout and what that looks like. So I thought that would be a fitting way to come back in the new year in January after Christmas and New Year and
reflect
talk about
on our rest.
What rest is. So maybe to finish, how are you? What does rest look like for you over the new year? Is there anything in particular you like to do to unwind? Have you got any plans?
Yeah, we have a Christmas this year. It goes Sunday we have a service which is Christmas Eve. Then the next morning we have a service which is Christmas Day. And so I'll have a quiet Christmas Eve.
Yep.
And then Christmas Day I'll do service, and then Christmas evening, I'll probably just want to have a big sleep.
Yeah.
Probably want to have a wine and some fruitcake and crash.
Yeah.
Bit of a cheese platter.
Yeah, yeah. You're talking my language.
Die
yeah.
of death because I'll be tired, I feel. And then we back a service up on the following Sunday, which
On
is...
the 31st.
Yeah, which is amazing. So that's...
And all of that has already happened, obviously, because... Except for the 31st, because we're not recording
again.
this in the beginning of December. No, leave it in. It's funny.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It's not funny. I fucked up.
No,
I did. I fucked it.
you can if you want. It's up to you.
Ask me the question again.
Yeah. So with that episode coming out at the beginning of next year, just around the corner about rest, how do you approach rest at this time of year, post-Christmas and post-New Year's?
Well, I'm going to be... I work between... we've got 2 days till New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And then...
and you've got a service on the 31st, don't you?
Yeah, and then I've got a service the following week. So church still keeps happening, so I still keep going to work. I'll work from home and I live on the Northern Beaches, so I'll go to the beach in between and take some rest, and I'll read because I'm going back to uni next year. I've got another subject, and so I've got to get in some relaxy reading before I start back
the
into
academic
my
readings.
heavy theology again. So I'll just relax and look at the waves and swim and hang out with my peeps.
Is the beach important for you in terms of rest? Like, do you
I
find
like
that?
it. Yeah, I like
I'm the same.
smelling it, being on it. Because I can walk to it from home and I overlook Pittwater. I've got water around me all the time, so I feel that I can go first thing in the morning when everybody from the western suburbs is still in their car on the way down, and as they arrive with their big wagons full of stuff to drag onto the sand with their Persian rugs that they bring down and their full cabanas, I'm leaving at that point because I've been there for a few hours already. So it's really beautiful. And then when they all go, I come back down to the beach at the end of the day. It's super nice. Yeah, it's important for my rest.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I'm the same. I love the water. I tend to... there's one holiday that happens every year with a couple of other families that is always at the beach, which I'm really looking forward to. It's always a time of switch the phones off, read as many books as I can by the beach, swim, watch movies with friends, go for walks, spend time in the sun. A lot of backyard cricket with a couple of beers, like just all the stuff that you want, all the stuff that you can't really justify doing in a world where you always have jobs to do. Yeah, taking that a minimum for me, it's really important to once a year have at least like 3 or 4 days to just not do any of that stuff and indulge in, you know what, I'm going to walk down to Shoal Beach today and I'm going to read a book. And then I might get a gelato on the way back. And that's all I'm doing today.
Oh, I love that.
That to me, so like good. That complete unplugging of everything and just complete battery reset is really important for me. So definitely be doing some of that.
Do you take your watch off?
I don't. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Just go by where the sun is.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. That's right.
Yeah. I'll probably get a lot of writing done as well.
Yeah. So you have creative.
Make use of the time and hopefully get some good writing done. Probably I'll be spending some time in Thredbo. Yeah. Doing some hiking and some golf.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, but just deep rest is really, at this time of year, is really important. Good sleep as well. Which for regular listeners will know that's an ongoing challenge for me. So lots of good sleep, lots of good food, time with friends and family, and lots of reading and lots of relaxing by the beach. That's
Happy
the plan.
New Year, brother.
Happy New Year, and congratulations on another killer year.
Congratulations to you too, mate.
We didn't... I was thinking about this the other day. The first year there were a couple of gaps here and there. We took January off and started first week of February this year with Simon Hansford, and we haven't missed a week.
Far out. Extraordinary.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool.
So
God's
congratulations.
So good. Yeah. Praise the Lord.
Yeah,
we have the
and thank
privilege.
you for being with us this year. Listeners, watchers, we literally wouldn't be doing it without you. The reason we do it is because of the community that congregates around it. So thank you for listening, and we hope whatever it is that you're doing over this time of year is, whether it's relaxing, whether it's, I don't know, whatever you have going on this year, that it brings you life and joy.
And your cup gets full.
That's right.
Yep.
We will be back on Tuesday week 2024 with more Filthy Hope. But until then, I'm going to sleep. I'll be in here sleeping. You just we'll come in, switch the lights on, I'll wake up and we'll record in a couple of weeks.
I've checked out. I'm Ness.
I'm Jonty.
This is Filthy Hope.
See you next year.